afternoon, coming to you live from BB26 Gaumont Street in La Accra. You're watching ABC Midday. I am Peggy Nyarkoawaa Bannoor. Coming up in the next hour. Former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has been detained by the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement over questions surrounding the status of his visa. Ghana has been exempted from the latest updates to United States visa restrictions as over 40 countries have been caught up in the visa sanctions. Still to come, the National Democratic Congress says the party will win the Ayawaso East by-election emphatically regardless of the candidate it presents. NPP serves notice to contest in the election. In business, the New Patriotic Party has accused the government and the Ghana Statistical Service of manipulating economic data to create a false impression of recovery, insisting that ordinary Ghanaians are yet to feel any improvement in their living conditions. On the international front, Ivory Coast Cabinet has officially stepped down, clearing the way for the formation of a new government after last month's parliamentary elections. Stay with us, we have details of these and more coming up shortly. You're watching ABC Midday News live on ABC News Ghana Television. We're streaming live on Facebook at ABC News GH_. Now to our stories. Former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has been detained by the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement over questions surrounding the status of his stay in the country, his legal team has confirmed. According to a statement released on the matter, Ken Ofori-Atta is currently cooperating fully with ICE while his lawyers engage the authorities to resolve the issue as quickly as possible. The statement explained that Ofori-Atta has a pending petition for adjustment of status, a process under U.S. law that allows an individual to remain legally in the country beyond the validity of any initial visa. His legal team says this is a common immigration procedure and expects the matter to be resolved expeditiously. The development comes against the backdrop of series of health challenges that have kept the former minister in the United States since January 2025. His stay in the U.S. has also coincided with ongoing legal troubles back home. In November 2025, the Office of the Special Prosecutor charged him and others with corruption and corruption-related offenses. The case is currently at the case management conference stage. Ofori-Atta served as Ghana's finance minister from 2017 to 2023, overseeing the economy during a period marked by COVID-19 pandemic, debt distress, and negotiations with the International Monetary Fund. Now let's take a look at a statement from his legal team. So this is a statement from the Ken Ofori-Atta's legal team. It says the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement as of yesterday detained the former Minister for Finance, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, regarding the status of his current stay in the United States. His U.S. legal team is in contact with ICE and expects the matter to be resolved expeditiously. Mr. Ofori-Atta has a pending petition for adjustment of status which authorizes a person to stay in the U.S. legally past the period of validity of their visa. Under U.S. law, a change of status by this method is common. The public is therefore advised to know that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, as a law-abiding person, is fully cooperating with ICE to have the issue resolved. So this is the statement from his legal team informing Ghanaians about his detainment by ICE in the United States. Now let's take a look at the facility where Ken Ofori-Atta is being held in. Former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is spending the night and possibly several days at the Caroline Detention Facility in Virginia, a former regional jail repurposed to house immigration detainees under the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The facility, previously known as a Pullman Sand Creek Regional Jail, has a holding capacity of about 336 adult detainees, both men and women. Mr. Ofori-Atta is among those currently being held there, subject to ICE contractual arrangements and population levels. The Caroline Detention Facility is one of two major ICE detention centers in Virginia, alongside the Farmville Detention Center. In 2025, both facilities have recorded consistently high occupancy, reflecting a broader rise in immigration detentions following stricter enforcement under President Donald Trump's immigration policies. As of November 28, 2025, the Caroline Detention Facility was operating beyond capacity. Data compiled by TRAC Immigration and cited by ABC 8 News shows an average daily population of 346 detainees, 10 more than the facility was designed to hold. The center has also faced past criticism over detainee management. A 2023 inspection found the facility failed to fully comply with requirements under its voluntary work program, with reports of some detainees working beyond permitted hourly limits. Let's take you a bit back to when the United States government issued a clear warning that it is intensifying enforcement against abusers of its immigration and visa regimes. Speaking during his visit to Ghana last year, the U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary for West Africa at the U.S. Department of State, William B. Stevens, said the Trump administration is determined to crack down on visa violations and other forms of immigration abuse. He explained that the renewed focus is part of broader efforts to ensure strict compliance with U.S. immigration laws and protect the integrity of the system. According to him, individuals who overstay their visas or breach the terms of their entry should expect tougher enforcement measures, including detention and deportation, as U.S. authorities tighten monitoring and compliance checks.
Getting people who are committing crimes in the United States to face trial in the United States and vice versa, and it's something that we have had a long history of working together, and it's even gotten better here in Ghana. But broadly, when you say deportations, that's talking about people from Ghana who have been in America who are now being sent back to Ghana. So we're deporting them back home to Ghana. And that is broadly, or any country, right? They've come to our country, they may have violated an immigration law, they've stayed illegally, they may have committed a crime and served their time and now are being sent home because they're no longer have valid status as a non-immigrant in the United States. So that's that. Then you have these people who have come to the United States and have abused the migration system, but have, for some reason or another, an inability to go home to their home country. And that is, and then finally we have and I don't believe this applies in Ghana, but we have people who are coming to the United States to seek refugee status. And essentially, we're asking for some countries around the world to say, well, we know that the United States doesn't have room at the moment for these refugees. Would you be willing to go to? And then we have entered into agreements with countries around the world where people can go as what's called a safe third country agreement, where they can go and say, well, I can't be a refugee in the United States, but perhaps I could go to Malawi. I'm making it up, but and we believe that some people would say, well, actually, I just really wanted to go to the United States. And we have seen President Trump's made it very clear people have been abusing our migration system for many, many years, to the point where we have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in the United States illegally. And that's what this is about. It's about the president's priority and why we have focused on it around the world in protecting our borders and enforcing our laws. And we're grateful to our partners who have helped us do that. So I'll let Ralph give me the specifics on Ghana.
So first of all, in terms of numbers of Ghanaians removed from the U.S., I don't know that number offhand.
In more news, Ghana has been exempted from the latest update to United States visa restrictions. A move the Minister for Foreign Affairs Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa says reflects the strength of diplomatic ties between Accra and Washington. Speaking on the development, the minister described the exemption as a positive outcome of sustained engagement between the two countries, assuring that Ghana continues to enjoy a cordial and cooperative relationship with the United States.
Thankful to him and the team at the U.S. Embassy here. Thankful to President Trump for being a good brother to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And if you doubted the good brotherliness between President Trump and President Mahama, you may have seen last night that in the latest round of U.S. visa restrictions, which hit very closely because almost all our neighbors are now affected, President Trump once again exempted his brother's country. The Republic of Ghana was fully exempted, and we are grateful to President Mahama for leading our foreign policy, which clearly is a mark of dexterity, of experience, of skill, of expertise, and unwavering commitment to our age-old foreign policy of being friends of.
Let's engage international relations expert Dr. Ishmael Holovo on this. Good afternoon, and welcome to ABC Midday News.
Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to your viewers.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Many happy returns.
Thank you. Now, before we take a look at the visa restrictions, let's take a look at the detainment of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Does the U.S.'s detainment of Ken Ofori-Atta carry any diplomatic significance beyond just diplomatic or a routine of immigration?
Thank you very much. I think that the only reason why it is diplomatically important is because Ken Ofori-Atta is a former minister of Ghana, more particularly a former finance minister who is wanted in Ghana for various infractions during his tenure in office. So while he's currently being held on immigration charges, then it becomes important for Ghana because Ghana for some time now have been trying to get Ken Ofori-Atta back to Ghana. So this makes it very, very easier because by U.S. immigration laws, once you overstay your visa and you are caught, one of the penalties you may face is that you may be put on deportation. And of course, that would depend on the ability of your lawyers to make a strong case for a waiver or under certain conditions. But then it also gives the chance to Ghana to argue their repatriation, their decision to get him repatriated to Ghana. So it's about we putting in the necessary document, the necessary, and I'm aware that the Minister of Justice has already triggered the process for Ken Ofori-Atta to be brought back to Ghana. Okay. So I think that once he's already in U.S. custody, those processes must be fast-tracked so that in the event that he will be deported to Ghana. And it's also easier because we already have an agreement in place with the U.S. Where we are hosting people who are not even Ghanaians. So yes, the importance is that he's a former finance minister. He's not just an ordinary citizen who has breached immigration laws in the U.S. And given the processes in Ghana, that make it quite an interesting one for diplomatic relations.
All right, but his lawyers are saying that they are working on getting a waiver. I mean, won't that affect any diplomatic activities Ghana would like to take to have him brought back to the country?
No, you see, we must understand that in this case, it's not being held because Ghana requested that he should be brought back. That's not the reason why he's being held. He is being held because he overstayed his visa, and which is a crime under U.S. law. But you see, that crime also carries various penalties, and there are circumstances under which the U.S. authorities may decide to waive the crime and then allow you to stay. So the lawyers may have to argue that while his visa has expired, he has genuine reasons to remain in the United States. All right, and if they can prove that those genuine reasons warrant an extension of his visa, then the immigration or the courts in the U.S. may decide that fate. That can go parallel with Ghana's quest to have him extradited to Ghana. So Ghana's extradition request will be running parallel with this process. Now, if along the line Ghana push harder, then based on this, if the U.S. administration wants to be a little bit favorable to Ghana, then they may decide that they are deporting him for breaching immigration laws. But of course, you know, the United States, because of the nature of separation of powers, where the judiciary seems to have its own way of doing things, it's not always easy to get somebody either extradited, brought down because of immigration. It all boils down to how the case is argued out in court. So it depends on what the courts in the U.S. think about the particular situation, and it also depends on the legal argument that the lawyers of Ken Ofori-Atta will be making in court.
Right. Now, Dr. Hlobo, in instances like this, what responsibilities, if any, does the Ghanaian state have towards its citizens, be it former public officials, or citizens facing legal or immigration issues abroad?
Okay, so under normal circumstances, what Ghana will have done if it turns out that the citizen is being held unlawfully is to express concern and sometimes extend help in the form of legal representation and so forth and so on. And so that having that. But Ken Ofori-Atta's case appears very curious because Ghana is wanting the man for various reasons in Ghana. So I'm sure that the Ghanaian authorities will be pushing for his deportation. That will be their hope. That even without the extradition, this proceeding will lead to Ken Ofori-Atta being deported. But even if it comes to deportation, the lawyers could argue that he faces imminent danger. How they will prove that, I may not know, in Ghana, and therefore will not be eligible to, would not want to be brought to Ghana. But that argument is also very difficult to sustain because the U.S. doesn't see Ghana as a country that abuses human rights. It doesn't see Ghana as an unsafe place. Of course, there's the argument of political persecution, but then the U.S. doesn't classify Ghana as one of those countries that people are politically persecuted. The U.S. sees Ghana as a very relatively free democracy, where the judiciary is relatively free, where the judiciary is relatively independent. So it will be a very difficult, but I'm not saying that they can't argue it out legally. I mean, legal argument and not political argument as I'm doing. So it all depends on the ability of Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyers to argue that he needs to stay in the United States for health reasons, for other reasons. So for what I see Ghanaian authorities will try to do is to try and put pressure on the U.S., particularly concerning their extradition order that they have put in earlier, that the person they wanted is already in their custody, so maybe they can fast track their extradition. That may be the best approach the Ghanaian authorities may be adopting at this time. I'm not privy to what they are doing, but from where I see, that may be their approach. If they really wanted him in Ghana, then they will have to push further for their extradition to be considered vis-a-vis the immigration offenses that he had committed in the U.S.
All right. Now, on the visa restriction, Ghana has been exempted from the latest update of U.S. visa restrictions. What does this exemption signify in terms of the relationship between these two countries?
Okay, so we know that when this administration took office in the first few months, Ghana-US relation was a little bit tense. But over time, the administration has been able to get back on track with the United States. And so currently, the United States considers Ghana as one of its key partners within the West African sub-region. And so this exemption is just testimony to the work that has gone in terms of trying to get the United States to be more favorable to Ghana. And I think that the Trump administration has reconsidered its earlier stand. Of course, if you understand Trump and the way he does diplomacy, he will always keep you on. And if you're able to engage and negotiate, then you may have some favorable outcomes. So this is a testament to the government posturing. Of course, there are things that they did that they took a lot of domestic bashing, like the deportation agreement that they had with the U.S. and groups are still in court contesting it. But all those go a long way to kind of reduce the tension, make the administration more favorably disposed in terms of the U.S. And so we are seeing the fruit of some of the hard decisions that the administration have to take, some of the very unpalatable decisions that the administration have taken. We have seen the fruit of diplomatic engagement led by the foreign minister. At the point he was in the U.S., where even he came under heavy attack from a senator. He responded, which we thought was not good. But then those works, behind the scenes work, are beginning to yield fruit. But that doesn't mean that U.S.-Ghana relations is all good. There are still issues that we need to work on. Of course, it also means that Ghanaian citizens are beginning to be more responsible in terms of their conduct to the U.S., visa overstay and all those. Maybe they have seen that there's a reduction in that regard. But it's all about the government own posturing and engagement with the United States. Yes, when you deal with big power, sometimes you have to give something, and it is normal in diplomatic circles for you to leverage on something to get other things that you want. And I think that that's what the government has done. And so you see more favorable U.S. response. And also because within this sub-region, the U.S. now, I think, needs Ghana a lot, be it in terms of security cooperation, be it in terms of engagement that allow it to have its presence in West Africa. Remember, Ghana still is a host to U.S. military. And so if you look at the strike they conducted in Nigeria, they have to fly from Accra and do some of those things. So Ghana is now, given what has happened in the sub-region, it's not a very important partner to the United States. But that doesn't mean that we should sleep. We must continue to engage. We must guide ourselves from being overused by a much more powerful nation like the United States.
All right. Finally, you mentioned that there are issues between Ghana and the U.S. Though we are not part of these visa restrictions, what concrete steps should the government take to safeguard Ghana's standing with the U.S. And to reduce the risk of being affected by these restrictive immigration policies in the future?
So, as I indicated, that the U.S. is a much more powerful force than Ghana. So, normally, when you are dealing with some of these nations with asymmetric power dynamics, you must always be ready to leverage on what you have to get what you want from them. And the Trump administration has demonstrated that it's a highly transactional administration. It's an administration that wants to get something out of every relationship. So what should happen is that we must be, as Ghanaian citizens, apart from the government, Ghanaian citizens energy. The more we engage them, the more we try to, the more we explain our position to them, the more we let them understand that we are not hostile to their interests, but we are ready to cooperate with them at various levels to achieve mutual benefit. The more it is easier for us to maintain our relations with the United States. But of course, as a nation, there are key interests that we should guide. One of it is that we should be mindful that we don't become a launching pad for attacks on other countries within the region, except that we are sure that that country is especially cooperating with the United States in any form of attack that they want to undertake. And we must insist on that. And of course, we also realize that as a country, while we are very favorable to the United States, we must continue to exercise our independent voice in foreign affairs. And I see a lot of that when the Venezuela incident happened, when the country took the position that this is an unwanted attack on the sovereignty of a nation. Yes, you just have to maintain your level of independent voice while you still cooperate with them. So those are important. Particularly as citizens of Ghana, we need to respect U.S. immigration law. We need to ensure that sometimes we want to go outside, but it's not all that juicy outside there.
All right.
Once we the citizens also do those things, I think that the U.S. will not at any time soon impose bans and sanctions. And of course, we must guard our passports from foreign influences. But after that, citizens are being banned. One of the options they have is that Ghana is not banned. So if I'm a Nigerian, I'm from a country under that list, if I can get access to Ghanaian passport, that makes it easier. Okay. So we must put in the security checks to ensure that our passport does not become something easy to be acquired by other nationals.
All right. Thank you for your time this afternoon, sir.
Thank you.
That was international relations expert Dr. Ishmael Lobo. Away from that, police have arrested a 42-year-old commercial bus driver, Mohammed Jali, and his mate, Mohammed Jabir, for allegedly transporting a large quantity of ammunition on a bus bound for Savelugu. The suspects were arrested on Tuesday, January 6, 2026, at about 7 p.m. when officers on duty at the Kantaso Asankari police barrier intercepted a Kia Grand Bird bus with registration number AK1309-21. The bus, which was traveling from Accra to Tamale and onwards to Savelugu, was stopped for a routine inspection when officers became suspicious that it might be conveying prohibited items. Acting on the instructions of the divisional commander, the police conducted a thorough search of the vehicle. The search uncovered a fertilizer sack containing over 1,000 rounds of AA and BB cartridge ammunition concealed among passengers' luggage. Upon interrogation, the driver reportedly told the police that the sack had been handed to him at a bus terminal by an unidentified individual as a parcel, and that it was to be delivered to a person he knew only as Oboye in Tamale. The bus was immediately impounded while the ammunition was seized as exhibits. In other news, a Burkina Faso registered cargo truck carrying cereals, including maize, beans, and tiger nuts, overturned on the circle overhead in Accra around 12 a.m. on Thursday, crashing a Sprinter vehicle in the process. A mate of the Sprinter vehicle, that is Chocho, involved in the accident, is currently receiving medical treatment at Ridge Hospital, authorities have confirmed. The incident caused heavy traffic along the circle overhead, with commuters reporting long delays in both directions as emergency crews worked to restore normal traffic flow. Officials from the National Fire Service and the Ghana Police Service rushed to the scene to assist in clearing the spilled goods and ensure road safety. Now, 1 year after President John Dramani Mahama returned to office with a promise to reset Ghana's economy, the verdict from the business community is far from unanimous. At major trading markets such as Makola Market and Abosokai, optimism competes. It competes with frustration, and hope clashes with harsh economic realities. While the government points to currency stabilization and policy reforms as signs of progress, many traders say the much touted reset has yet to reflect in their daily sales, purchasing power, or cost of doing business. For them, the promises of economic relief remain largely theoretical. Others, however, argue that 1 year is too short a term to undo years of economic decline, insisting that patience is needed for policies to yield results. So after 12 months, the question remains, is Ghana's economy truly being reset, or are ordinary businesses still waiting for change that has yet to arrive? There is more in this package.
Has fulfilled his promises lies in the bosom of the very people who gave him the mandate to lead the country. And so we take the story into the hearts of our marketplaces to find out from the people their general assessment of President Mahama's 1 year in office. Let's engage some traders in Makola.
Domani Mahama, idebi keke. Idebi keke. Omaye nwatoye. Okomi ndiye. Omoaba. Anwaba. Afiwe adi na ento kakla na nyami wo hoye. Bibia abesisa. Nti asemo enu nie.
Edwane de meka se mema no Mahama me ma na metimi ama no beye 85% cause wa yade. Hwe wa yi animu na 1 year no yedwa ye die ne yenhye den hu. Bibia mefa ne se ebebo ye fom biara. Nyema ye hu na ye mpuntu because of say ska no dollars na ba fom. Nti ne tembia no obia nso nya mpuntu na ne dwadie mu. Nti mema no be 85%. Ghana ha ne de mi hu yi ayakasa yi awe de eye baneda tembia enye saa ne ka no but mi de mi hu ni se Mahama wa yade
si Mahama de wa yade pa wa bomode aka akraska obema skaba nti be abotar ni benya ye pede se on trans no hwe so yie pa de yeto ya eto ade nya abotar bibia be yi bia be koso say Nyama sisa kakra nti na yedi shisha ya nyama.
Some traders say President Mahama is doing his best to improve the country's fortunes and deserves commendation, urging the public to remain patient as his policies take effect. Others at Makola Market, however, say business has slowed since the president took office. While sales remain low, they hope conditions will improve as the year progresses.
Oba 1 year ni neska ni wo neska ni wo so ne atade na ne memu oden so na de to ne ye afi we eniema ho so ska ni wo nti ade to ne nye enkoyi Cristiano o ma sika mele kurom nya nkofo metade ma ye o ma sika mele kurom ska ni kurom ade to ni nkoyi. Because last year, ne more than so near Tade my
Mama buy no market no. Ayabasa. My imagine say bia no 1 year na nyemo aye din na mum embrek akra aka won anim no. Emu be ye.
Although the city has fluctuated over the past year, the Mahama administration has been credited with initiating reforms that have helped stabilize the currency, offering relief to businesses and households that previously struggled with sharp depreciation and inflation. Yet, despite the city's relative appreciation against the US dollar, some spare parts dealers at Abosokai say the gains have not translated into better business as demand remains weak.
Oh, I know a bompire say, a Juma away, no. We number Adam when you be. As all could do, Machini said, or Market Candia. Echo black rent to me, me who she me who be beer, say, or by a BB assassin. And yet, I saw no baby present, though, and your friend Obo. Into a cotton who say, and your mamma, yeah, say, Nina, and could you do them a bad year? As a man, I must say, assassin.
1 year.
who suye because senior oba the first 3 months no say na nneema mu ekono ne ehunu say business no ba bo so kan ha na expect say obetimi am make nneema me my businessmen but they say no Rebecca say dollar back from the bet okomu a ensem meble because hwe nneema na eton na say price na ye hu say senka e rate na e back from my no de gina na gina
business ne de say na it say first na wahu it say first na mahama no no na adwen ne say bia dollar ne kofem a ene bia business betuma akoso na so enti sa because dollar ne be kofem won a sesa no kra che say wo munya bi etu na boga na ono be kwa abrochi ne be ba no so koyi duty nyoma na duty no na etia
Away from that, the Deputy Director of Elections of the National Democratic Congress, Mahdi Jibril, says President John Dramani Mahama has laid a solid foundation aimed at strengthening the economy. Speaking on ABC in the morning, Mahdi Jibril noted that the policies being implemented by the NDC government has been contributed to a reduction in the prices of goods. He added that President Mahama's experience in governance has played a key role in delivering effective leadership 1 year onto his second term.
The kind of work that John Mahama has laid down today, when it comes to economy, for the first time you go to market, where market will tell you that no, this is a different leadership. You go to Abosokai, who in the last nine years ago, when the NPP came to power, they decided to reduce cost of items in the Abosokai. Today, it is natural that you have to reduce, not because you love a party or don't love a party. So it's a solid foundation that we have laid. That one, everybody. So 1 year, we are not surprised. I am proud that I'm part of the team that worked harder to get John Mahama. When people said, oh, he cannot be trusted, we have been.
Meanwhile, member of the communications team of the New Patriotic Party, Senior Ahmed Lenu, has described the economic foundation laid by the Mahama-led administration as shambolic and hollow. Speaking on the government 1 year in office, Senior argued that the administration has failed to establish a solid economic base, citing unfulfilled manifesto promises.
Administration led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, they have not set any solid economic foundation. Their economic foundation is so shambolic, it's hollow, in the sense that where comes in again the 24-hour economy they promised the youth of this country. For the first time in the history of Ghana, NPP lost all the tertiary campuses because the youth of today were so desperate for jobs. At the time, there was no job. The youth wanted job. And Mahama and his people, they deceived us. They lied to the youth. All in the name of jobs. Today, where comes in the Women's Bank? They were moving from one market center to the other. The vice president, Mami Odende is not quiet. She cannot even talk. Even the 24-hour economy, they could not even make enough budgetary allocation. In the first budgetary allocation, 110 million Ghana cedis. Women's Bank, what has become of it? You lured our young ladies, our young women. You told them that in every market there will be a bank. They are telling us there is solid economic foundation. Where are the banks? The Women's Bank. The women are still calling for the banks to be open.
From that, the Deputy Director of Elections for the National Democratic Congress, Mahdi Jibril, says the party will win the Ayawaso by-election regardless of the candidate it presents. According to him, he expected the New Patriotic Party to contest the election, although winning will be impossible, noting that the party may only be seeking to increase its vote margin. Mahdi Jibril added that the decision on whether the NDC will hold primaries or directly nominate a candidate will be guided by consultation, stressing that nominations will be opened at the appropriate time.
They will not win. As for the win, they will not win. But they say they will win. No, they will not win. As for the winning, they will not win. Why would they not win? I'm telling you that I'm going to use you to contest the seat against anybody from NPP. Yes. We will change our rule. Why are you putting me? I'm saying that we will change our rule and give you. Because you are not popular. Just because you are not popular. But we win Ayawasu East seat these elections. Viewers, I'm not contesting any seat in Ayawasu East. I'm just giving you that it is. I was expecting that they will contest the elections, especially when it's just 3 years ahead of us. They'll come and make a case. They will come and make a case. But that is what we are for. After we have said, we are going to be our candidate to beat MPP. But it's the gap that I am not the candidate. So we wait to see. First, we will do our primaries as a party. We'll open nominations. You're not going to choose somebody. Oh, you learn from all these things. It will come. Consultation will also happen. But what we need to do, what we have to do, they will not win. As for the win, they will not win. But they say they will win. No, they will not win.
We'll take a short break here. We'll bring you business news after.
Rent back with the beer open. Come on, let me see what. Where this guy? My friend, see before.
It's the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telecel Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telecel Play app to obtain and start winning in the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
When is campaign? If you're a baby, many schedule no. If you know, meto etiaka. Inti ene, uno banu mpe baby amubeda. Oh, no abeka. You did too much money. No matter.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Magic pepper and onion, a delicious tomato mix with tomato, pepper and onion. No grinding, no blending. Ya yeni na da da da. So pa mediane no abe. Come on, Gino, do your magic. And papa no kunu abefi.
Tasty magic.
Gino Magic Pepper and Onion. The magic that brings them home.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back from the break. This is still ABC Midday News Live on ABC News Ghana Television. We're streaming live on Facebook at ABC News GH_. In the world of business, communications team member of the New Patriotic Party, Senyor Ahmed Lenu, has accused the government and the Ghana Statistical Service of manipulating economic data to create a false impression of recovery, insisting that the ordinary Ghanaian is not or is yet to feel any improvement in their living conditions. Speaking in an interview on ABC in the morning, Senior Ametlenu dismissed the recent announcement that inflation has declined to 5.4%, alleging that the figures do not reflect the realities on the ground.
The government statistician, he was proud to his appointment. He was at the Ministry of Finance.
Okay.
And he was the Chief Economic Advisor and Director of the Economic Strategy and Research Division at the Ministry of Finance.
Okay.
The question I ask is that today, he is there together with them cooking figures, manipulating figures.
That's why you see it as.
And telling us that inflation is now at 4%. Fantastic on paper. Government cannot celebrate numbers and citizens will experience hardship. Is that what they are telling us? Government cannot celebrate numbers and citizens. What I want you to know is that if wounds stops bleeding, that still hurts. If wounds stop bleeding, that still hurts. You don't call.
Now, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union says any adjustment to transport fares will be considered when conditions permit, even as pressure mounts on operators to reduce fares in line with recent fuel price declines. The union's position comes amid renewed calls from energy sector think tanks and industry observers for transport operators to pass on savings from lower pump prices to commuters. While fuel costs have eased in the recent pricing window, GPRTU maintains that the broader cost structure of transport operations has not changed significantly. According to the union and some commercial drivers, key operational inputs such as vehicle maintenance, spare parts, tires, lubricants, and financing costs remain elevated, limiting the immediate scope for fare reductions. Public Relations Officer of GPRTU, Abazi Moro, spoke on ABC News.
With some commitments. One of the commitments was we spoke to the spare parts dealers. They are great. We should give them some time, and they will also join us in making Ghana to smile once again. Of which we did. I'm right now in about, I think, 10-15 minutes ago now. I was at a servicing shop. I changed my oil filters, and the pricing, the value was the same. The oil that I changed, I buy 5 liters at 600. Before even that May reduction, it is still the same 600. But the dollar has been reduced. We know these are things that comes with the dollar. Why are they not reducing it? And what are they doing? Those in charge of these things, what are they doing about it? OPEC, yes, you are supposed to be telling us why oil and other lubricant prices have not been reduced. Why are they not talking about that? You see, at times there are certain things one does, and if you do good, you regret doing that good. It is not fine. Give us we'll study our grievances that we have. We'll study whatever issue we have in running transport. My brother, my sister, nobody would use huge amount of money to buy transport to get into transport business again. Nobody would do. We are doing transport business.
Still on this, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana is renewing calls for a downward adjustment in transport fares, insisting that sustained fuel price reductions must translate into relief for commuters. According to COPEC, fuel prices recorded about 12 consecutive reductions throughout 2025, a development the Chamber believes should have a direct impact on transport costs. Speaking on the issue, head of research at COPEC, Polofori, argued that fuel remains one of the most critical cost components in transport operations, and prolonged price drops can no longer be ignored by commercial transport operators.
Okay, throughout the year, that's about 7 months. If you are to add this window, that is the 2026 first window of January to the reduction, that's about
13. And in all of that, these transport unions and transport operators were able to just give us one reduction. And that was somewhere in the month of May. Apart from that, we did not see any form of reduction. Rather, we saw drivers increasing fares, at their own whims and caprices. That, I'm afraid, cannot be the order of the day. Where you have reductions translating into about 13, the consumer at the end of the day ought to enjoy some level of relief. And so it is not enough for these transport unions and operators to come and say that they have not seen any form of reduction from the spare parts operators or spare parts owners, and also the lubricant marketers. Therefore, they are standing by the fact that even though we have seen reductions in fuel prices, that alone cannot account for a reduction in transport fares. I'm afraid that reason is not rooted in law.
Okay.
And so we are urging these transport operators and unions to reconsider that decision.
All right.
So that by the end of the week, we see some level of relief.
That's all for business news. Up next is sports news.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes, so what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
Imagine a sport without rules, a game without passion, an arena without chance. What drives the champions? What fuels the rivalry? What separates the winners from the rest in the world of sports?
Eugene Soti, your chief data guy on the Talking Points. On the African Tracker, I'll break down the performance of your favorite African players abroad, scrutinizing every detail and exploring the nuances and rules governing the game.
Meet us in your area for Area Take as we plug into sports perspective and hear your thoughts on every play of the game.
I'm James Makion, your go-to expert for everything local. I'll review the fixtures from the locker room to the pitch and from the management to the fans. I've got you covered.
Oh la la! Don't miss out on the double excitement. It's a fun pack, pulsating and complete wrap of everything in sports, from boxing to football, tennis, NBA and more. Sports World on ABC as every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Sports World on ABC. Sports beyond borders.
In the world of sports, Premier League leaders Arsenal host defending champions Liverpool tonight in a blockbuster midweek clash. The Gunners head into the encounter unbeaten in the league since their 2-1 defeat to Aston Villa in December, while Liverpool arrive searching for a return to form after going winless in their last two Premier League outings. Speaking ahead of the game, Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta acknowledged the challenge Liverpool posed, describing the fixture as a tough test and insisting his side have a point to prove. Arteta also praised the club's supporters for their unwavering backing throughout the season and urged them to turn the Emirates Stadium into a hostile environment for the visitors.
Obviously very excited, a massive game against obviously the champions of the last Premier League, and yeah, we have a point to prove. We're gonna have our crowd, our supporters very early, before 8 o'clock, everybody there, creating an amazing atmosphere, and looking forward to it. They've been unbelievable again this season, and it makes such a difference. We become a different team. The level of energy, commitment, confidence, desire that that we can show in every action is transmitted by them, and we need them tomorrow in every ball. I was very excited.
Now, Liverpool has endured a difficult start to the Premier League season despite high expectations following last season's title triumph. The Reds, however, appear to be rediscovering their rhythm, remaining unbeaten in their last 9 matches across all competitions. That run has not fully translated to the league, with Liverpool failing to win their last 2 Premier League fixtures ahead of a tough test against leaders Arsenal. Speaking ahead of the clash, Liverpool manager Arne Slot admitted his side is still below the level he expects, stressing that inconsistency remains a key concern as they look to regain their best form.
Yeah, it's 9 games unbeaten where we've had definitely 2 draws too many, and then I think about the Leeds away game and this game in terms of the moment we conceded a goal. Yeah, where are we? I think I've said so many times the answer to that question. We're not there where we want to, but I feel we have a very talented squad, and if everyone is available and everyone is ready, then I think we can do special things. And I also think we've shown that this season with quite a lot of impressive wins, but we've also shown that we've had impressive draws or impressive losses in a negative way, I mean.
That's all for sports news. Up next is international news. On the international front, the United States has announced the seizure of 2 oil tankers connected to Venezuelan crude exports during consecutive operations in the North Atlantic, and vessel, the Russian-flagged Marinera, was intercepted after a nearly 2-week pursuit between Iceland and Scotland with logistical assistance from the UK Royal Navy. The second ship, the MT Sophia, was boarded in the Caribbean after being accused of illegal activity. These actions are part of Washington's efforts to cut off Venezuelan oil exports and follow shortly after U.S. Special Forces detained Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro in Caracas. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said the enforcement of sanctions on Venezuelan oil remains active worldwide. Russia condemned the seizure of the Marinera, insisting the ship was legally registered and calling for the safe return of its crew. Although reports suggest Russia deployed a submarine to protect the tanker, U.S. forces boarded it without resistance. The White House claimed the vessel was part of a Venezuelan shadow fleet and effectively stateless due to flying a false flag. In more news, Ivory Coast Cabinet has officially stepped down, clearing the way for the formation of a new government after last month's parliamentary election. President Alassane Ouattara accepted the resignation on Wednesday, January 7, following a sweeping victory by the ruling RHDP party, which captured over 75% of the seats in parliament. This comes just 2 months after Ouattara won a 4th presidential term with nearly 90% of the vote. Although the resignation marks a formal reset, significant changes are unlikely. Many current ministers were easily elected to parliament and are expected to retain their positions. The outgoing administration will continue managing routine government businesses until a new cabinet is announced, likely before the end of the month. Speaking to ministers, President Ouattara said the election outcome reflected strong public confidence, but called on his team to accelerate development projects and improve citizens' living standards. That's all for international news. Up next is entertainment news. In entertainment, in widespread social media reports claiming that musician Mohammed Ismail Sharif Kweku Frimpong, popularly known as Black Sharif, has been ordered by Adenta Court to pay 229,500 Ghana cedis in rent arrears. This dispute stems from non-payment since August 2024, prompting the property owner to take legal action. The case has drawn the attention of the public in challenging the artist's face in meeting financial commitments, though rising to fame. Meanwhile, court document from District Court 1 at Adenta has debunked the claim and has issued no such order against the musician. In a court document filed by Dr. Evelyn A.C. Awuto, shows that the case is at its preliminary stages. The next hearing of the case has been adjourned to March 3, 2026. The court expects both parties to appear before the court. That's all for entertainment news, and that's how we wrap up ABC Midday here on ABC News Ghana Television. We stream live on Facebook at ABC News GH _ for more news. Log on to our website at www.abcnews.gh. I am Peggy NyarkowaA Bannoor. Enjoy the rest of your day.